Hello, fellow.
ドクタ
Welcome back to Simple Sandman's
ー、アークナイツ。
Story Skipper series. If you're coming from my last video, episode 0, man, you're the real MVP. Of course, if you're new to this series or the channel in general, I'd like to humbly welcome you to my sandy oasis. If the title didn't give it away, I'll be going over the story so you don't have to read it word for word. Alright, let me break down the anime real quick. So I've watched it, and I gotta say, although it almost hit every story point, from the game, man, especially the on-air time constraint, I would like to prepare you for more specific details of the story of two possible scenarios. One, if you plan on reading the story where the anime left off, or two, you want to get a foundation in preparation of the large sums of lore this series has to offer. Now, if you haven't read episode 0 or Evil Time Part 1, I'll leave a link to my summary video in the description below. I'll be going over a few key characters before we start, but if you're already aware of Amiya, Ace, Doberman, and Neural, skip to this time here. Ace was the man who we met up with after escaping that mysterious building that you, the Doctor, were sleeping in. He is a defender, which, fun fact, is also Blaze's senior. Another fun fact, he is one of the few Rhodes Island elite operators, and they're the people that get deployed on special operations. I'll introduce the other elite operators like Blaze and Rosamantas in later videos. So in the last episode, he was the man who blocked Faust's second shot that was aimed towards Neural, and ordered the Rhodes Island snipers to fire onto Faust's position. Amiya was the 14-year-old chimera / cactus who the Doctor first saw when waking up. The ancient race of cactus have rabbit / hare physical traits, mainly the shape of their ears and super short tails. Doberman was the drill instructor from Rhodes Island that accompanied Amiya during the rescue. She's a Pero, an ancient race of Terrans that have dog-like features. Neural was the Radiant Knight that saved you from Mephisto's offensive. She's a Karanta, an equine-based ancient race that have horse and zebra traits. These can be seen from the shape of their ears and their ability to run at high speeds with little to no issue. We kick off this episode with Doberman observing how the catastrophe cloud is more clearly defined than the black haze it was before. Imagine the sky darkening, the visibility lowering, and the riots roaring throughout the streets. The interesting thing to note in this section is the infected clinic called Azazel. They tend to the infected in secret. The whole clinic is a secret. Which, it makes sense in a city like Chernobog, which promotes persecution and oppression of the infected. The social negativity bleeds into how the infected treat each other. What isn't mentioned in the main story, but is a fun fact leading to Azazel's clinic's lack of cooperation, is taking a quote from Helliker's first archive file. But maintaining a benevolent, neutral stance cannot protect this clinic in times of political turmoil. After all, the clinic is too influential. Now this could lead to a heavy lore video on how Helliker managed this clinic, but this isn't the video for it. All you need to know is the fact that not everything is painted black and white or good and evil in the world of Arknights. Now, Amiya gives a quick summary of how Oripathy affects a person. Imagine having the ability to use amazing powers called Originium Arts, but at the cost of your body crystallizing into this black mineral called Originium, which after the body fully crystallizes and turns to dust, it can then lead to secondhand infections. Therefore, cremation is customary at Rhodes Island. You will notice these crystals embedded on the skin of many operators. This characteristic easily identifies them as the infected. Doberman steps in to emphasize that Rhodes Island wants equality for all, while Reunion is infected-centric, meaning the Reunion only care about their own kind. At this point in the story, we have less than an hour before the catastrophe truly hits the city. The fighting starts ramping up for your squad as haste creates risk. You see civilians frantically attempting to escape Chernobog, but the Reunion keeps getting in the way, causing you to go through back-to-back battles for your own safety. If you happen to save any civilians along the way, awesome. But life is precious, not only for the civilians, but for your crew as well. Mephisto briefly reintroduces himself to remind you, the player, that Faust is following your crew and how you guys are insects that might be able to escape in amidst the confusion and chaos. During one of your confrontations with the reunion, one of your guards stops to notice falling rocks. Doberman orders them to keep moving, but the guard mentions that something's not right. Then, one of the reunion members screams, "It's here! It's here! Salvation has come for us! Judgment Day has come!" All of a sudden, one of the rocks crushes the excited reunion member into red paste. Doberman asks, out of confusion, if the falling rock was from one of your squad mates. Amiya points towards the bloody crimson sky and the boiling dark clouds that Nero describes ever so gruesomely. You can describe this scene as hell on earth or the apocalypse, as buildings are on fire, rubble everywhere, and large shards of flaming originium falling from the sky. Doberman figured the reunion would have used the catastrophe for vengeance. Instead, it was for some kind of manifesto for the era of the infected. As everyone attempts to seek shelter in the somewhat intact buildings nearby, one of your medics is standing out in the open, stunned by the horrors that they're facing. Oh God, out of nowhere, you, the doctor, just have that sudden urge to heroically push them out of the way of the giant shard hurtling towards them. The problem, we missed one small detail, is how you just replaced the rock's target. One of the guards of your squad is the first to notice this trait of destiny and screams, "No!" But Nero, with her quick thinking, swoops in and saves the doctor with her shield by blocking the giant falling shard of originium. Just as the catastrophe lightens up, for now, the timing of the reunion's attack couldn't be any worse, especially when people are being crushed indiscriminately by falling shards of originium. As your crew attempt to fight off the onslaught of reunion soldiers, they were able to eventually surround you from all sides. But for some reason, instead of attacking, a lone woman walks through the reunion mob, carrying the scent of steel and sulfur. She is none other than the reunion's leader, Tallulah. Nero immediately orders Amiya to take the doctor away so that she could hold them off. The problem is that Amiya is refusing to retreat. Now, Tallulah is described as a monster who wields enough fire to burn all of Terra. She's a Draco, an ancient race with the traits of European dragons that can manipulate fire. She makes assessments of Rhodes Island's resolve with statements like, "You have the resilience of liberators," and "Your group has proven to be quite interesting." Tallulah concludes that Rhodes Island has been killing their fellow infected and must pay the price. Then she uses her originium arts to superheat the air around her and send a massive fireball at you all. But Amiya uses her originium arts to hold back Tallulah all by herself. Amiya's determination can be seen by the very center of her pupils turning red. So, while good versus evil clash, Nero is preparing some kind of incantation. But when we thought she'd be the one to help Amiya, it was actually Ace who will take the stand. He orders everyone to take Amiya and the doctor retreat. Amiya then finally passes out from exhaustion while watching Ace fend off Hell Incarnate. This spared her from, unfortunately, one of the horrifying realities of war. Ace knew death was inevitable, but to have his shield arm torn off in the process, his final words are, "I'm sorry. You might not remember me, but I remember you. I know what kind of person you are. There will come a day when you and Amiya will face this cruel land together. This is why you must cherish her. Let's go. Godspeed. Not even a second to mourn, and you're back to your siege through the endless reunion mobs, carrying an exhausted Amiya on your back. Nero's mental fortitude starts to slip after the sudden death of a serious Chad. Doberman reminds Nero of how, as the Radiant Knight, she's supposed to be the beacon of hope no matter what. We finally reach to the extraction point, and Amiya finally wakes up. But one more obstacle stands in our way. She's wearing pantyhoses. I forgot I'm still recording. Where was I? Oh, yes. A white-haired, fiery-eyed, crimson-horned young woman makes a dramatic appearance with a bomb in her hand. She's a Sarkaz, an ancient race that typically have a pair of horns, longer pointed ears, and a slim tail with a pointy end. Not all of them have horns or tails, though. Horns can be removed out of humiliation or to conceal their identity. These people can be described as having demon-like physical features, as seen in Abrahamic religions. What makes her the most interesting character in this episode is the lack of any serious motivation of what's going on around her. But her special interest in you, the Doctor, stems from the days before being put to sleep in that mysterious facility at the beginning of the game. This relationship alone is for another video. If you guys want any lore videos from me, leave a comment with some suggestions, as I'm doing my best to be very receptive of your feedback. I really want to deliver the best this series has to offer. Anyway, W explains her intentions with how she has no love for that she-dragon Tallulah, and how she's not even cut out for this goaltending business. She simply wants to have a chat with you, even though Nero mentions how W is wasting her breath. W then mentions of a missing Rhodes Island recon squad, and their unwavering loyalty to Amiya. Of course, you, the Doctor, tell your squad to engage in combat with her. After the fight, W recalls how this was nostalgic and got what she came for. She allows your crew to escape because she didn't want to get bored of a long, drawn-out ordeal. After W and the reunion soldiers leave, your crew rush to the Rhodes Island land ship, ending this episode. And with that, we get our first death. But instead of throwing F's in the comments, everyone, let's raise our thumbs with the like button for the Giga Chad himself, Ace. Miss you, big man. So, with that, I wish you a good day. Doctor.